Good morning everyone. Good morning Ma'am Mangibin. I'm John Edward Delgado and we are the reporter of climate change. So, climate change nowadays in what happening to us or in our world, it is important to pay attention to our nature. Because why? If we do not pay attention to our nature, we will be the one who greatly affected by the changes that will happen. So, what is climate change? Climate change includes both global warming by driven emission of greenhouse gases and resulting large-scale shift in weather patterns. Though there have been previous periods of climate change since the mid-20th century, the rate of human impact on our climate system and the global scale of the impact have been unprecedented. So next, climate control factors. What is climate control factors? Climate control factors, any particular place influences by a host of interacting factors. This includes latitude, elevation, nearby water, ocean currents, topography, vegetation, and prevailing winds. The global climate system and any changes that occur within it also influence local climate. Consider how each factor illustrated by the thumbnail image might control climate at your location. So we proceed to what is latitude? Latitude in geography coordinates that specifies the north to south position of a point on the Earth's surface. So next is elevation. What is elevation? The elevation of geographic location is a height above or below fixed reference point. That is elevation. So next is nearby water. What is nearby water? Nearby water is a surface temperature affecting land temperature. When we say nearby water, it is the temperature of the water and affecting the land temperature that cause changes on land posture or etc. So, ocean currents. Water temperature indicates transfer of heat by currents. In ocean currents, the water temperature is changes to energy by the current. That is ocean currents. Next is topography. What is topography? It's the study of the form and feature of land surface. That is topography. Next, what is vegetation? Vegetation is an assemble of plant species and the ground cover they provide. That is vegetation. Prevailing winds. What is prevailing winds? Wind in a region of the Earth's surface is a surface wind that blows predominantly from a particular direction. So that's all my part in our report for climate change. The next reporter will be discuss the future effects.
Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Derek Badillo and I will report future effects. Change will not continue through this century and beyond. Global climate is projected to continue to change over this century and beyond. The magnitude of climate change beyond the next few decades depends primarily or the amount of heat-trapping gases immediately globally and how sensitive the Earth's climate to those emissions. Sinasabi dito, as time goes by, may pagbabagong nangyayari sa global climate ay depende sa init or gases na humahadlang sa Earth's surface. Temperatures will not continue to rise because human-induced warming is superimposed or naturally varying climate. The temperature rise has not been and will not be uniform or smooth across the country or over time. Dito naman, sinasabi dito, ang dahil nagkaroon ng sobrang pagkapatong-patong na human-induced, ay nagkakaroon din ito ng epekto sa klima kung saan magkakaroon ng hindi magandang dulot sa pagbabago ng temperatura. Frost-free seasons and growing seasons will lengthen. The length of the frost-free seasons and corresponding growing seasons has been increasing nationally since 1980s. The largest increases occurring in western United States affecting ecosystem and agricultures. Dito naman, noong 1980s daw ay magkakaroon ng epekto sa agriculture ng ecosystem ng pagkakaroon ng pagdami ng length of frost-free and growing seasons sa western United States. In a future in which heat-trapping emissions continue to grow, increases or month or more lengths in the frost-free and growing seasons are projected across most in the US. By the end of the century, with lightning smaller increase the northern Great Plains. The largest increase the frost-free seasons more than 8 weeks and projected for western US, particularly high elevation in coastal areas. Dito naman, 'di ba, isa sa dahilan ng global climate ay ang pagtaas ng percentage ng carbon dioxide gases sa kalawakan. Dahil doon mas lalo pa siyang dadami pagdating ng panahon because of different establishment. Pero according sa US, tatagal ang frost-free, ito yung hindi pagyayelo sa isang lugar sa Amerika. Mas mataas at mas malawak sa western US compare sa northern Great Plains. More droughts and heat waves. True in the southwest in heat waves, periods in abnormally hot weather lasting days of 2 weeks. Everywhere projected to become more intense and cold waves less intense everywhere. Dito naman, dahil daw sa pagkakaroon ng mainit na panahon sa southwest, magkakaroon din ng resulta kung saan makakaranas ng mga tao ng droughts o tagtuyot. Sinasabi dito, tumatagal ito ng more than a week. Kaya mababa ang chance na makakaranas ng mga tao sa southwest ng taglamig na panahon. Summer temperatures are projected to continue rising, and a reduction of soil moisture which pervades heat waves is projected for much of western of central US. In the summer, by the end of this century, what have been once in 20-year extreme heat days, what the events are projected to occur every 2 or 3 years over most of the nation. Dito naman sinasabi dito, habang nataas ang temperatura tuwing summer sa western central US, nagkakaroon naman ng reduction of soil moisture na nagresulta ng problema kung saan nanunuyo at nagbibika ang mga lupa. Ang problema na maranasan dito ay magkakaroon ng high humidity or excessively hot weather. Sinasabi dito na by the end of the century, inaasahang magaganap ang matinding init sa ibang bansa in every 2 to 3 years.
Hello everyone, I am Bencho Jampol. Today we will talk about how different man-made activities contribute or cause climate change. Number 1, fossil fuels. Burning of fossil fuels emits a number of air pollutants that are harmful to the environment and public health. For example, nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxide emit when burning of coals, and this is a colorless gas with a strong odor. It is a liquid when under pressure and dissolved in water. And when it dissolved in water, this creates sulfuric acid that can contribute to acid rain. Number 2 is deforestation. When trees are cut down, the carbon dioxide that are stored is released to the atmosphere. Kaya may carbon dioxide yung puno kasi yun ang isa sa mga kailangan niya para magawa yung photosynthesis, para makapag-produce ng oxygen. Number 3 is intensive farming. Intensive farming will need more resources, and some of these resources contribute to the climate change, like the use of nitrogen-based fertilizer. Also, one of the resources that are used can produce methane. For example, the product produced by the livestock. Number 4 is waste disposal. When organic waste decomposes, carbon dioxide and methane gas is released. Yung mga ibang dump site naman, wala silang maayos na waste management. Kaya minsan, lahat sinusunog na lang nila. Kaya naglalabas ito ng mga toxic gas na harmful sa ating environment at sa ating public health. And number 5 is mining. Sa pagmimina, gumagamit sila ng malalaking makina. For example, malalaking truck. Sa truck na to, gumagamit sila ng mga diesel na ito ay yung nagre-release ng carbon dioxide. Tapos sa pagmimina, sinisira din nila yung kalikasan, for example, mga puno, para magbigay daan sa mga malalaking nilang makina. And number 6 is overconsumption. Sa pag-abuso natin sa paggamit ng ating mga resources, mas lalong nababawasan yung mga natural resources natin. For example, trees, gas, oil. metal ores, and fertile land. For example, kung mas kailangan natin ng papel, kailangan natin pumutol ng puno. At sa pagputol na ito, magre-release ito ng carbon dioxide na masama sa ating environment. And now we will talk about the effects of climate change on biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to every living things including plants, bacteria, and humans. Climate change affects the way of life of different animals. For example, in the Arctic, the ice is melting because of the increase in temperature. Because of this, different animals that prefer the cold environment will migrate to another area, and because of climate change, some animals gone extinct. And number 2, how climate change affect the ocean. Climate change affects the temperature of the sea, and it became more acidic because of carbon dioxide. And it affects the corals where the fish lives and the fish itself. Some of the marine animals migrate to some places that have the desirable environment for their lifestyle. And number 3, how climate change affect the humans. Climate change affect the humans' way of life. For example, the rising of temperature will cause longer drought or tagtuyot. And because of this, the water supplies that is needed in the crop production will lessen. Climate change also affect the human's health. For example, the rising of temperature will also affect some of the diseases and heart-related illnesses that prepare the hot temperature. For example, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and heat cramps. And the last is how climate change affects the weather. The climate change influences severe weather by causing longer droughts or tagtuyot and higher temperature or heat waves. That's all. Thank you.
So how do we prevent climate change? How to fight climate change? So the first step will be to fight climate change, we must first reduce our greenhouse gases or GHG emissions. To accomplish this, the first step is to embrace renewable energies that are naturally replenished on a human timescale, such as sunlight, wind, rain, tides, waves, and geothermal heat, and avoid creating energy by burning the fossil fuels, as well as besides swooping the types of energy we produce, we must also make everything more efficient. Because even if the energy comes from a renewable source, it still won't be carbon neutral and will still contribute to the ozone depletion. The second step is that we need to adapt our lifestyle to overcome these growing challenges that climate change is bringing. For this to happen, we should start to create a worldwide culture of sustainable development where the energy is used wisely and efficiently, where a circular economy is a strong bet, as well as durable and eco-friendly products. One thing is for sure, we need to choose responsibly the products we buy because our demand as consumers influences what we are supplied with. Renewable energies means the first way to prevent climate change is to move away from fossil fuels. What are the alternatives? Renewable energies like solar, wind, biomass, and geothermal. The second one is the energy and water efficiency. Producing clean energy is essential, but reducing our consumption of energy and water by using more efficient devices such as LED light bulbs, innovative shower systems is less costly and equally important. Sustainable transportation. Promoting public transportation, carpooling, but also electric and hydrogen mobility can definitely help reduce CO2 emissions and thus fight global warming. Sustainable infrastructure. In order to reduce the CO2 emission from the buildings caused by heating, air conditioning, hot water, or lighting, it is necessary both to build new low-energy buildings and to renovate the existing constructions. Sustainable agriculture and forest development. Encouraging better use of natural resources, stopping massive deforestation as well as making agriculture greener and more efficient should also be a priority. And the last one will be the responsible consumption and recycling. Adopting responsible consumption habits is crucial, be it regarding food, particularly meat, clothing, cosmetics, or cleaning products. Last but not the least, recycling is an absolute necessity for dealing with the waste.